Hello and welcome to the finals of YCS Bochum 2018. It's been a very long weekend and we can't wait to get this started. But just before we do, we're going to fill you in. If you've just tuned in for whatever reason, you've been missing out on so very many cool things. We had 1,951 players at the start of day one, yesterday morning, bright and early. And they played until yesterday night, or actually this morning, when we had 8 rounds of Swiss. After those 8 rounds of Swiss, we cut down the field to just 444 players going into today's competition. We're going to bring up the country breakdown for you guys real quick. This is what it looked like at the very beginning of this tournament. 1,200 players from Germany. Those guys alone would have been enough to be in like the top 20 largest tournaments in Europe.
Yep.
But just add to that all of the other countries coming out very strongly, with Italy, Netherlands, France, and so on. The big story there is, as always, Italy's conversion rate. It is through the roof. After day one, Italy, 54 out of the initial 107 made the cut. Every second Italian is guaranteed a place in day number 2. This is not an official tournament thingy. This just happens at every event.
But it doesn't end there. We see the Italians continue on excellent form again through to the top 32. Almost 1 in 10 of them making it to the knockout stages of this event.
And when you compare that to 1 in 100 out of the Germans, it's a bit of an unfair comparison. But if you're Italian, I think this sounds like honey going down your throat. All right, let's look at the metagame breakdown going into the tournament. We expected to see Pendulum Magician. We expected to see a lot more Pendulum FTK. But even if you add those numbers up, we're looking at less than 400 players that went with this archetype out of almost 2,000. Trickster, True Draco, Lightsworn, Zombie Grass, the other big 3 decks going into the weekend. After day one, the entire curve is a little bit flattened out. New on this list is now Paleozoic Frogs. A lot of veterans were playing this deck. They felt like it was the right choice, and obviously pretty good conversion rate from they were a deck in the other category going into day 2. If we then look at the top 32, this is something we did absolutely not expect. 2 of those other decks are actually Sephra Young Sing.
Yep.
But even then, we see a total of 13 different decks in the top 32. Obviously, we don't have all the stats from previous top 32s in front of us right away, but I personally don't remember a time that we had that many different decks all being represented in the knockout stages of a YCS.
Absolutely amazing.
And on top of that, it's not the first tournament in this format. That's something we should add. It's a bit more common if it's the first tournament in a new format, but it is not, of course, because the YCS Atlanta that took place just last weekend, which is the reason why we were expecting a lot more Pendulum FTK. In the end, this was not the deck that dominated this weekend, and it just went crazier and crazier. If we're looking at the top 8 breakdown, for example, while there are 2 Pendulum Magicians, there's pretty much everything in there. Half of it we did not expect. This is also why we didn't have the pro player pre-recorded content pieces that are explaining how Trickster is working, how Pendulum is working, how the Pendulum FTK is working, because half the time when we did a feature match, we didn't even see those decks.
Yeah.
Yes. The other deck in this case is one of the 2 Zephyr decks that made it through to the top cut.
Almost in the finals. They went into the semi-finals.
Yeah.
All right, guys. That is like the tournament as a whole. There's still more to be said about those 2 finalists that we have here. Markus Burtjen, player from Germany. He has been in the top cut a couple of times, mostly at regional tournaments. He's hardly, and I'm saying this with the utmost respect because he's going to a lot of tournaments, he's hardly considered the best player in even his group of friends. There are always people that actually make fun, that they say, hey, you make it to the top cut, but then you're always flaking out. What's happening? This could be his moment. On the other side, Marco Perico from Italy earlier went up to a judge and said, I did not expect to be still in competition at this point. He's playing World Chalice.
We've just seen him go through what might be the swiftest semi-final feature match I have ever seen.
10 minutes. 2-0 clean sweep. So not only are they going to be a first-time YCS champion, they're also going to be the champion of the largest European YCS of all time. So this is going to be the story going into this final. I think you guys are set. the stage is definitely set. With that, it's time to do. Let's take you to the finals of YCS Bochum 2018. So here's Marcus on the left, Marco on the right. Many questions can be asked. One of them is, how do they handle the pressure? Marco does have the advantage that he's been in the feature match before. Marcus has not been featured all weekend because he was playing Pendulum Magician, and we always had a crazy deck to feature. So this is the first time that he's sitting under those bright spotlights.
Now you say that, but looking more closely into Marcus's deck list, it's not as far from crazy as you might think. Obviously, we see a lot of Pendulum Magician decks in the tournament, but here we have Rank Up Magic Argent Chaos Force. One copy of in his deck. There's a combo that he has access to here.
What's his target?
Using Beatrice.
Don't talk down the player.
No, I said what's his target?
He's able to perform a rank 6 to summon the Beatrice, sending Chaos Force from his deck to the graveyard. Then when he overlays the Gaia Dragon on top of the Beatrice, he can add the rank up spell back from his grave to the hand. Now the rank up spell isn't there to be activated, it's to discard so that he can rank up his Utopia into Utopic Zexal and lock out the opponent.
Oh my! I've not even seen this. I had a friend who played Utopic Zexal Zoo at our nationals, and he'd not played Yu-Gi-Oh for like ages and was able to make it to the top cut. No, he was doing very well. But yeah, the Utopic Zexal is insane.
But just think of that. Like, you're bringing a unique take on this established deck to the feature match table.
Yeah.
You're sitting in the finals. You're expecting to be the crazy one.
Yeah.
And you're far from it. I mean, his opponent is playing World Chalice.
Yeah.
Like, we cannot emphasize this enough.
Yeah.
World Chalice.
I remember seeing the deck list being added, and I saw the rank up magic, and I just wondered, what is the target for this rank up magic?
This is one of those few times where I can actually not blame a player for picking up half the cards the opponent is playing in the finals.
Yeah.
Usually you expect them. You've played this deck like a million times.
Yeah, you're in the finals of
Here we see
YCS.
it.
You should know all of the cards that your opponent has, but
Here's the Transmodify, by the way.
Ooh!
I don't believe it. I'm not going to look at the screen.
I was blinking. I didn't see it. It doesn't count.
Earlier on, I was saying how good Transmodify is in this deck.
And it was not.
Okay.
No, it is. It is. It absolutely is. He was saving his secret trick for the finals. Marcus says, okay, now it's the finals. I cannot hold back any longer. Now it's time to unleash the Transmodify.
Yeah, see, we have an Abyss Actor.
And
as well.
we should actually mention that Marcus has nothing to interact here.
No.
Marcus has to watch his opponent play a million weird cards that he's never seen before this weekend, end up with a gigantic field, and then possibly lots and lots of disruption, because that is what World Chalice is good at.
Yeah, just looking at Marco's hand here, he has got absolutely everything. He's got World Legacy's Heart, he's got World Legacy's World Chalice, he's got Lee. It's just everything that you could possibly want.
Yeah, very strong opening, and now access to even more cards through the most contentious link format of the event, Saryuya Skulldread.
That's true. That card definitely deserved that title. I have to say that the later it gets in the tournament, the more often we saw the card being put to good use.
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
In yesterday's feature matches, there were situations where we thought, like, this card, it's good in theory, in a vacuum, as we like to say.
Yeah.
But it was played in situations where the players could have just done more with their established field rather than going for that card.
Yeah.
With the tournament progressing, we saw more experienced players or players that just played with that card a little bit more and knew what you could do. They were using it to great effect, much greater effect than what we saw in the earlier feature matches yesterday.
Yeah, and we see it here being very strong for Marco. I feel like Marco must be feeling pretty confident at this point. He said in a post-match interview just after the semi-final that he was only really worried about facing against the True Draco deck with the Monarchs are up, but he can see as soon as he sits down at the table, the opponent has an extra deck. He knows that he's dodged his worst matchup, and he's been able to win the die roll, go first, and have a very strong turn one.
Yeah. Brilliant fusion as well. He has a brilliant fusion. Wow. So the card he got off Saryuya was brilliant fusion.
I think it's worth going for that card if you end up with brilliant fusion.
Absolutely.
He's just going for it here. This is, like we said, we have had World Chalice in the feature match before a couple of times. Very often the deck was kind of known to be flaking out. This is the exact opposite.
Does Ava trigger?
We see him sending Eva, and at this point he's banishing 2 fairies from his graveyard to search
Oh,
for
Eva does trigger. That's
2
amazing.
heralds
Yeah,
from
it's-
his deck.
Yes. So
Whenever it is being sent to the graveyard.
yes, Ava allows you to add 2 level 2 or lower fairies with different names from your deck to your hand. So you just add Lee to your hand and then add the orange light as well. So you can straight away use those. That is so clever. I didn't even see that in his deck list before.
Because earlier you were wondering why isn't he playing more of these because he wants to discard
yeah,
it.
yeah, so now he's got this very specific combo that I didn't see in his deck list before. That is very clever.
That little Eva in his graveyard,
Just give him +2 cards.
yeah,
Basically.
just says, here, you can go even further down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Negate any monster effect, and I think he's going to be able to summon a co-linked World Chalice Ningersu? No. It's not co-linked, but does it gain the effect just for each World Chalice
yes,
it points to?
Yeah, each World Chalice.
Doesn't even need to be co-linked. Okay, so
I'm trying to
he'll
remember
be
its name. It's not Ningersu. It's...
Ningersu, the World Chalice Warrior.
No, Ningersu is the one that destroys stuff.
Sent to the grave.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I'm thinking... Yeah, I got that completely wrong. I'm, again, thinking of his old name. Yes. Yeah, so you just get to draw 2.
It seems to be an ongoing problem
Yeah.
with you. What was his name? Jack? Since the other one was Randy?
No, his name's Titan. Yeah, Kyoto Waterfront.
This almost feels like we're watching Zombie Lightsworn Grass deck
Yeah.
with him working through his deck.
Marcus is not pleased right now. He's just staring down this field.
Have we seen the effect of Saryuya to special summon from the hand yet, or was that it coming in there?
I think that was it.
Yeah. So far, most of the special summons came from like all different places.
Yeah. Here's Ib.
Oof. That's such an impressive field, and he's still not done.
Yeah, gonna go get the Gamma Seal. This is just absolute insanity.
We see a Twin Twisters in hand, able to take out some scales. We see a co-linked
Herald.
Firewall on the field. We know that there's a Herald and another Fairy in hand. This is what we were talking about, how you need to be able to build up so many negations.
But it's also that he has 4 cards in hand after summoning 4 monsters to the field that are quite impressive, if you ask me. But yes, you are right. It is all about those negations right now.
Yeah, so he's got 2 negates with
The
Gamma
Kaiju.
Seal.
Yep. Kaiju and the
then Herald.
But then 2 further pieces of interaction from the Firewall Dragon and the Twin Twisters. So there are
Yep.
4 cards that Marcus needs to work his way through to be able to establish a board here.
Is it possible?
And, oh, we cannot show this card apparently, but an Herald of Orange Light in his hand, together with another fairy.
Yep.
So
Wow.
we're looking at what, 5 negates? Is that correct?
Yeah, it's 4
A
including.
total of 4 pieces of interaction. 2 of them negations, 1 of them is returning to hand, and 1 of them is destruction for spells and traps.
So on a scale from 1 to 10, Thomas, this is where it counts the most. What would you give this opening in terms of a rating?
It's
Is that a solid 10?
a 9 if it's not a 10.
Okay.
The only thing that I think might be better than this is something that involves a floodgate. All of the pieces of interaction that we see from Marco are a single-use piece of interaction. If he was sitting on a floodgate alongside a set of negations,
Like anti-spell
that
fragrance?
would be a 10 for me.
Okay. So 9.5.
Yeah, I think Solemn Judgment would put that up to a 9.75.
It would
instead
be.
of Twin Twisters.
It would probably be enough for an Olympic gold medal.
Yes,
Or let's just say Olympic medal.
definitely.
But Marcus is far from giving up here. Despite everything that he's staring down at the moment, he's still looking for ways through.
Yeah,
And he's
gonna-
got a lot of cards that we hear in our pro player interviews earlier when we were learning about the Pendulum Magician deck. The deck isn't just good at going first and building a board full of negates. It also has the tools like Purple Poison Magician to be able to take out those boards.
Right. But I think as soon as he assembles those scales, the Twin Twisters are going to come in.
Yes, and at that point, if the Purple Poison Magician is destroyed, it will be able to destroy a card on Marco's side of the field. Only one might not be enough, but It's a start. He can begin chipping away at that setup.
It's a start in the finals where you really want to win. All right, let's see. Let's see. So Marco just double checking. There's a very high chance he's familiar with the cards his opponent is playing.
Unlikely that Abyss Actor. That's not.
Yeah, not all of them.
Common.
I mean, like as a general rule.
The Abyss Actor being able to summon itself from the Pendulum scale once per duel if its controller has no monsters on the field. Firewall Dragon here being activated, returning a card from the graveyard and the Abyss Actor to the hand.
He's adding Ava for the Herald of Orange Light.
How many Heralds does he have in his deck?
Just one. And just one Ava as well.
And of course he drew it.
Well, he added it.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Ava was sent from the deck with Brilliant Fusion and...
Yeah, and proved to be a really good card.
Yeah, really good.
A much better card than we thought initially. It's just hard to find in our app. There are a couple of cards with EVA in the name.
Must have taken someone incredibly skillful to find that card.
That is true. I'm very quick to agree here for reasons that I won't disclose.
Yep. So.
There was a pot of desires.
I feel like if there's going to be something to negate, this pot of desires is one of the things.
We see counters ticking down on the Kyoto waterfront. The Gamma Seal has negated it.
And that is it, yes. Marco Perico with the first game win in the finals. He's just one more duel away from becoming the YCS winner.
But this time, he won't get to play first, and that might turn things on its head, particularly if we see that Utopic Zexal combo coming down for Marcus Bochum.
I actually cannot wait to see that. We saw it at the UK National Championships in Altrincham with the aircraft that we had in the venue. Yeah, it was a great feature match. It was a zoo deck, and instead of going through the full combo with Fusion Substitute and all that kind of stuff, instead, he just played Utopic Zexal and just won the game.
So the zoo deck at that time, though, had to draw the rank up spell.
Yes.
This time, only a single copy of that rank up spell in the Magician deck and a way to search it.
Yeah,
if
so
we can see Marcus having access to a rank 6 and a rank 4 at the same time, I think that's everything that he needs to be able to put that lock out.
Yeah.
All right, let's see the side decks of these guys. Marcus is playing Effect Veiler in the side deck. Just as we've seen or said many times this weekend, Effect Veiler suddenly much better than it used to be the last couple of months, mostly with the disappearance of Spiral when it comes to the popular decks. Performage.
Performer Pal Seal Eel is a card that we aren't likely to see with Marcus playing first. It's a Pendulum scale that has an effect to negate monster effects already on the field, but it's not a quick effect, only on the player's turn, so it's generally only brought in when playing second.
We have a Kaiju, 3 copies of that and of the Mystical Space Typhoon. Then we have Cosmic Cyclone, 3 more. Lots and lots of spell and trap negation, or not negation but destruction, and an Abyss Dweller in the side deck. So that's it for Marcus. Not that many options to do crazy sideboards stunts here. A bit different for Marco. He's got 3 mind controls, 3 anti-spell fragrances, 3 evenly matched, 2 Mask of Restriction, 1 Raigeki, Arklord Christia, Chinzo, and also an Abyss Dweller in the side deck.
Yeah, the mind control.
We can see the mind control going in.
A very strong choice when playing second.
To go with, together with a Raigeki, also
and
went in.
Evenly matched.
Thomas was also playing the same cards with mind control.
Yeah,
really
Thomas,
good.
we should mention, was the first World Chalice player we featured this weekend. Luke predicted that he was somewhere on the sidelines with a World Chalice flag and waving the whole time while Marco was playing.
And that's the story I'm sticking to.
The real story is that Thomas was asked about the semifinals and said, I don't like his build, which must have I don't know. He's not known as the Chalice kind of person, but so I think it was his honest opinion that he really does not like this particular build of that deck.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll have some other thoughts once he's seen what it can do if he's watching this feature match.
Yeah, possibly.
Maybe, yeah.
It's curious that both of the players here, not that it's likely to be hugely relevant in this match, have chosen to side deck the Abyss Dwellers rather than finding space in their extra deck.
So, wow, that must be an amazing statistic that you are like way more likely to get to the finals of the largest European YCS if the Abyss Dweller is in the side and not the main.
This is the secret. This is the takeaway from this. If you want to go to the finals of a large tournament, play Abyss Dweller in the side deck.
Yeah.
So Marcus may even be bringing it in here. We saw some effects being activated in the graveyard for Marco. The Eva came down and triggered in the graveyard to add 2 cards to hand. So Marcus may have brought that one in.
All right, we got a new song playing in the background for you guys and a new duel that just started in the finals. Both our volunteers hard at work entering those card names.
Pendulum will start.
Pendulum will start. Okay, no surprise there.
Nope. Let's see you topic Zexel.
We see Marco's hand loading in first, Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. He's got interaction. Lead the World Chalice. Twice. Mind Control and Soul Charge. So he did draw into cards from his side deck, and he's got a bit of disruption with that Ash Blossom. He might be needing it. Let's see what Marcus has. Oh, so much for that disruption. Ash Blossom. Marcus starts with Abyss Actor, Curtain Racer, and he's also got Mythical Beast Master Cerberus. Also in hand, rank up Magic. That's the rank up Magic.
He has the ability to go straight into this Utopic Zexal play here. He can make his Electromite, loop his way round to get a Pendulum summon for 2 level 4s, overlay for the rank 4, and he already has the discard.
Sorry, I can't talk to you. I have to hold Luke down. I don't want him to go too crazy here.
I'm going to wait for it. I'm waiting for it. This is
Okay.
I cannot wait to see Marco's face when he is told he doesn't get to play Yu-Gi-Oh! For a turn.
I did not know that I need like a rope to do coverage here
Yeah.
to take you, to hold you at bay.
Yeah, guys, Luke is in the feature match area. He has ran over. He is hugging Marcus. Oh wait, no, he's just hugging the Utopic Zexal.
Oh my god. So many epic plays we're going to see this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, we've already seen this weekend. Let's put it
there's been so much.
Okay, let's see if he's really going to go for
He
this.
draws the Harmonizing Magician off the effect of that Heavy Metal Foe's Electromite. It seemed an odd play to send the Wisdom Eye Magician. I don't think he was guaranteed to set up a scale there until he found that Magician off the one drawn card.
Wow.
That's skill. Draw skill, to be precise. But it worked out for him.
This is just phenomenal.
Many, many years ago, there used to be a saying in German, Skill ist, wenn Luck zur Gewohnheit wird. That tried to say that the players that you accuse of being lucky all the time are actually super skillful, and that's why they end up setting up these situations that look like they're lucky, but they knew exactly what was coming. This is what we have here.
Yeah.
Or he's really just very lucky.
Yeah, right. Keep an eye on Marco's face here. Keep an eye on Marco's face.
Yes.
Utopia?
It's still... He's like a bit... Nah, what is this?
What
What is this? Yeah, I have to pick
Hold
this up.
your horses.
And Utopic Zexal hits the board!
Oh my gosh.
Can I see a translation of this, please? Please. He's asking for a translation. This is even better. We're gonna be holding on until the translation of this card is actually given.
Okay, you can also exceed summon this card by discarding 1 rank up magic normal spell card, which any normal person in the venue has not been playing, but Marcus Bortino, who ended up in the final somehow, is playing this.
Absolutely.
Then using a Utopia monster you control as the exceed material. That's what he just did.
Yeah, please read on.
This card's exceed summon cannot be negated.
Nah.
In a format that is all about that 1 or maybe 2 negations, that sounds like a pretty strong effect.
Yeah.
When exceed summoned, your opponent's cards and effects cannot be activated. I think that's a typo. Wait a second, I'm reading that again. When exceed summoned, your opponent's cards and effects cannot be activated.
Correct.
Yes, this is the
Continue.
This is the actual card text. Gains 1,000 attack and def for each exceed material attached to it.
Yes.
And
Please go on. We've not got to the best bit yet.
Once per opponent's turn, quick effect, you can detach one exceed material from this card. Your opponent's cards and effect cannot be... Wait a second, I have to read this again. They cannot be activated this turn.
Nope.
What
Nothing.
just happened?
You get
So
nothing.
for the entirety of this turn, Marco is unable to activate cards or effects.
Yeah,
There are 3 materials
I
under
don't-
that Utopic Zexal.
So for 3 turns, the only action he can take is to, like, just summon monsters to do nothing. You set monsters. That's all you can do.
This is completely crazy.
Yeah, and it's not like this is it. His next turn, Marcus is going to be able to proceed to just produce a huge field of monsters.
Marcus Burtjen is trying and failing when it comes to containing his smile.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's like,
absolutely.
He's like, yes, this is my stream moment. Even if I lose in the finals, I'm going to be going down the history books as somebody who just made that move in the finals. However, there's a kaiju.
There's 1 turn. It doesn't matter. He only needs 1 turn.
It's still one of the very best outs that you can have.
Yeah, but that's it. That's all he could do.
Crazy.
To quote a wise man, I don't have to play very well if my opponent can't play at all. That was exactly what was said.
Who said that?
That was the guy who was playing this at the UK Nationals in his post-match interview.
I thought Gandhi was playing cards or something for a second there. Wow.
It was the perfect quote.
It's crazy that Marco has an out for this impossible to beat card. So now it's all about, can Marcus Burtjen wrap things up in this turn?
Has to be. And I think it would be foolish if he didn't have a plan to be able to wrap this up this turn.
He needs to. This is going to be it. I mean, it was an epic opening. Marco, however, did have an out with his kaiju. And now Marcus Burtjen is actually under pressure. This sounds weird, but Marco Perico has a good hand, or a decent hand, with that mind control, with that soul charge, and Lee the World Chalice Fairy. So Marcus Burtjen needs to wrap things up here. 8,000 LP to go.
So the effect of the Heavy Metal Foes Electromite has just been used there, destroying the Harmonizing Magician and adding it immediately back to the hand. If he's able to put together a Pendulum Scale alongside that Oath Dragon in his 1 Pendulum Zone, he can then Pendulum Summon from the hand that Harmonizing Magician. And there he has the Wisdom Eye that completes the scale. He searches for his high scale. He's now able to Pendulum Summon both the Wisdom Eye from the extra deck and the Harmonizing Magician from the hand. He'll get an additional special summon from the deck when the Harmonizing Magician is summoned from the hand. He has access to all of the tools in his extra deck, and it should just be a matter of using those to summon out enough attack points to finish the game here.
Right. Okay, Marcus Burtjen is on the right track. He's on the freeway. He's cleared the gang. He's now entered the freeway, which is a callback to round 1 yesterday, which was at the very beginning of this tournament. We had to sit people outside the main hall, still in the venue.
Yeah, not outside.
Mr. Withington,
not
I was
outside.
waiting for your...
Yeah,
for
you nailed
addition.
it. You nailed it just outside the main hall.
And there were so many players that still was not enough, so we had to actually go upstairs and secure yet another hall to seat all of those players. The tournament center people that are running this tournament, they're doing the OP part, or the setting up part. We're talking to the German staff, and the German staff tried to explain that for fire security reasons. Okay, let's finish the story in a second. Marcus Burtjen just won the second duel, and it's now 1-1.
Yeah,
in the finals.
Utopic Zexal. The first time
my
we have
God.
seen this on a YCS live stream.
I was talking with some friends just before the start of this match, and this is exactly what we'd hoped would happen. We were saying we wanted to see one game where the World Chalice player gets to do their things, puts out a huge board. We want to see one game where the combo happens with the summon of Utopic Zexal. We didn't get to see the full searching with the Beatrice and the Gaia Dragon, but we still saw it being summoned and locking out the turn.
You're a greedy person, Thomas
And now
Rose.
the perfect finale here would to be a game where both players draw just okay, and they're forced to really duke it out, fighting against each other. They both have a hand with a couple of plays here, a couple of plays there, and it comes down to who can break through and find that winning opportunity.
Yeah,
It's going to be very interesting how this duel is going to go down now.
in reality, we want them to both break right now. That's what we actually want, because that would
The
be
Schadenfreude.
yeah, exactly.
Schadenfreude, yeah.
That would be an amazing game.
Okay, Marco Perico is going first this time around, obviously, because we've seen that in the first game. His deck is pretty good when he goes first and unopposed. That means some cards are going to go out of his side, from his main deck into his side deck. is he going to side out the mind control? He's had the Raigeki on top. He's thinking of, yeah, Raigeki.
I expect to see mind control out, evenly
Raigeki.
matched out, Raigeki out, and potentially things like Archlord Christia
Yeah,
coming in.
We see the mind control and the Raigekis. They went out again.
I just saw the Jinzo going past. It's actually a Tinzo as well, which is even better.
Tinzo.
Yeah, it's from the tin.
Luke,
It's called Tinzo.
you mentioned that it might be interesting to see if both players bricked. I have a feeling that if we saw a brick from both players here, Marco would just be instantly out of it. A brick for a World Chalice player means
much worse.
absolute dead.
Yeah.
A brick for Pendulum Magician, still probably going to be able to struggle its way into an Electromite. They don't brick very well.
Yeah.
A brick from a World Chalice player used to be called business as usual before we entered the semifinals. Every single time in the feature matches. Usually we had to be happy if they just won one game somehow.
Yeah, and now Marco Perico here is in the finals with World Chalice. It's a very unique version of World Chalice.
Proving us all wrong. He's proving us all wrong. This is going to be it. Just going to quickly wrap things up with my story earlier.
Okay, so rank up Magic has gone out, by the way.
Oh, so he's like, I had my moment. That is it.
It's only a strong combo when you're playing first.
Yeah.
But he's main decking it, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so he wants to unleash that in the first game if possible. Yeah.
I feel like this is the calm before the storm.
It is. I'm pretty confident it is.
Ollie, how about your story?
My story, right. So many times ago, so many years ago that I started that. So we have a lot of players in the upper hall, and Tournament Center is asking the German staff, so for fire security reasons, how is the layout? Because they obviously wanted to have like rows on the side of all the tables, because that would mean we can fit more players in. And the German staffer said, we need a gang in the middle, which is the German word Gang means like a road in the middle. He just pronounced it English to get his point across. And ever since, I'm imagining that somewhere in this venue there's a gang of people, maybe with knives and stuff, pickpocketing Yu-Gi-Oh players.
That's an awful image.
Yeah, hopefully it didn't happen so far. It's like my nightmare come true.
Okay, we're just getting the hands loaded in here. We see 2 pots of desires for the Pendulum Magician, and not a lot going on the World Chalice side.
No,
so
there is nothing going on the World Chalice side.
I think, Luke, what you've asked for may have come true here.
Hold on.
There's a Kyoto Waterfront. He does have an anti-spell fragrance to stop his
being
opponent.
set, and with enough bricks to build a house, he passes turn.
He's got beckoned by the World Chalice and Eva together with Herald of Orange Light.
Yeah, there's nothing for this anti-spell fragrance, though.
This is good news for Markus Burtjen, who just won in a very memorable way the second duel.
Yeah, there's nothing.
And
there is a purple poison magician in the hand. It doesn't immediately out the anti-spell fragrance, but it can be set so that if it's attacked over, it will be able to destroy that anti-spell.
Herald of Orange Light.
It will destroy the purple poison in the extra deck, it will go to the graveyard, and it will trigger again and destroy the anti-spell.
Okay, yeah, actually, I didn't even think about that.
You stand corrected.
Yeah.
All right, good news for all fans of Markus Burtjen. First blood. I think this is the first time we're seeing an attack in the finals, actually. Before that, it was always building fields and shuffling up. That's a sport. Soon going to be an Olympic sport, actually. So Marco Perico is now on the clock. Even though it's a kind of small clock, he needs to find something. And it's only World Legacy, World Chalice. He's not happy with that draw. Is he going to just pass right back? No,
No, I think he can proceed now. He has World Legacy, World Chalice. Because he can just summon Imduk and then tribute it for World Legacy.
Right, seems like that's exactly what he's doing here.
We see Imduk coming out, and is it the effect of the World Legacy World Chalice in hand that allows him to special summon it by tributing?
No, Imduk gives you an extra normal summon of a World Chalice monster.
Okay. Yes. He's choosing instead to set it.
Wow, okay, no, I think that's really bad, because... can I see the text
Of
World Legacy, World Chalice?
no, you cannot, I'm afraid. It's those quotation marks that make it hard.
Okay, yeah. It says if this card is normal summon or set, when it leaves the field, you get to special summon, so that's okay.
So Markus Burtjen probably, is he thinking about what's face down there? Or does he know?
Yeah, he knows. There's only one tribute monster in that deck.
Assuming that he knows how the World Chalice deck works.
Yes, yeah. And let's be honest, he probably doesn't know because everything's crazy right now, so it could be anything.
No.
He was probably expecting to see Zephyr in the final, you know, one of those much more common decks.
Yeah, exactly. This Guardian Sphinx is going to really shake things up. Oh, dear.
Oh, okay.
The judges, it seems, just checking if Imduk is allowed to grant an extra tribute set.
Yeah, that's always a bit...
Very good point.
It's always a bit confusing.
Apparently not.
No, normally, sometimes it says you can tribute summon or tribute set.
Yeah, I'm just checking the
But
text.
normally the tribute summon or the or set part should not be necessary.
No,
or is it only
says
tribute
you
summon?
can normal summon one World Chalice in addition. Wow. Okay.
It's just a normal summon.
Yeah. Not entirely how I think that card. Yeah.
So it needs to be a summon.
Yeah.
No sets
Yep,
allowed.
I think that's fine. It's just a bit more damage than he would like to take. In fact, World Legacy World Chalice actually has an effect when it's just face up on the field anyway, so might actually work out. It's kind of like Thunder King Ryo. You contribute it to send a monster to the graveyard if a monster or monster is a special summon from the extra deck, so that will stop a Pendulum summon from Marcus.
But how is it for attack points?
Awful. It's got none.
So we're quite likely to just see the Purple Poison Magician here running it over.
Yes, but unlikely that... It means it's unlikely that Marcus is going to be able to win with some huge Pendulum summon this turn.
Oh, I mean, there's the anti-spell fragrance anyway.
Yeah, true.
As long as it's active.
Of course, yeah. Completely forgot about it, but yes. Regardless, he's not going to be able to do much with that World Legacy World Chalice on the field because, yeah.
The whole game is just being slowed down at this point by that anti-spell fragrance.
Yeah, massively.
So, as we said in Game 1, the way to get the ideal opening board is to have a floodgate. If we'd seen the floodgate, it would have been, for me, the perfect opening at that point. But this time, we see just the floodgate and none of the negates. And this is really showcasing the power of those floodgate cards. Even with nothing else on his side of the board, he's able to stop what would have been an absolute onslaught of magicians.
Yeah. That is fair to say. So currently, both of these decks, they are running like in half throttle rather than full steam ahead. And as we pointed out before, if both decks are not at their best, at their peak, this might favor Pendulum Magician being that consistent.
This is exactly what we wanted, though.
Yeah, kinda. We want to see a comeback now. And then another comeback, and then another comeback, and you know where this is going.
And we want one of them to deck out.
Yeah, exactly. That's
in
what
time.
I want to see. In time, on top.
Perhaps unrealistic to reach a deck out in the next 11 minutes, but it does seem that we do at least have some play and counterplay going on this time, whereas our first two rounds were absolute
Wipeouts by both.
Yeah. It was. We've already seen more duels in the third game, or more turns in the third game than we've seen in the first two games combined.
Yeah.
So yeah, Markus Burtjen sitting in the driver's seat, even though it's a very slow car that he's driving right now.
He's going to ram the Purple Poison
running in his Purple Poison just to get it to die.
Yeah, what do you think he's going to go for? The anti-spell fragrance?
Absolutely. There's no reason to hit anything other than the anti-spell here. The anti-spell is the one card that stands between him and being able to amass his Pendulum board.
So, but what can Marco do to stop him from doing that?
I don't know if he can do anything. He might try and use that Herald Orange in his hand, but that would be a really awful decision.
Yeah, so that happens. Purple Poison Magician going back to the extra deck face up, and that should be the end for Anti-Spell Fragrance. Or maybe not, with that Herald of the Orange Light.
So the Astrograph Magician has also been used in response to that destruction. That may even prevent the Herald Orange from being used on the effect of the Purple Poison.
Can you use the Herald of the Orange Light in the damage step?
Yes,
Yep.
as a card that negates the activation, it is able to be used in the damage step. Frequently, similar effects negate effect, not activation. Those cannot be used in the damage step.
Okay, so the anti-spell fragrance, the floodgate is gone. The gates are open. Let's see how many mages or magicians can now pour through them.
Seemingly, he does have a second Herald. Couldn't find it on his deck, but that's probably because it's in Italian.
Oh, right. Did he write them down as 1 and 1 because the names are different?
No idea. No, I didn't. I just knew by the judges telling me that he had it in his deck. They didn't actually tell me how many.
It may, of course, here have been a bit of a mistake to put that Astrograph at the Chainlink 2. If it had been Chainlink 1 Astrograph and Chainlink 2 Purple Poison, the Herald Orange would only have been able to negate the Purple Poison, and that would have meant guaranteed resolution of the Astrograph effect from the hand.
Don't think he could put it that way around because the Purple Poison was a trigger.
Is the Astrograph also not the trigger?
Well,
it's when a card is destroyed.
Depends on what kind of trigger it is. But anyway, let's not. It was done that way.
If a card you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then you can choose one monster in the graveyard, extra deck, or that is banished. It was destroyed this turn, and add one monster with the same name from your deck to your hand. You can banish it, plus 4 monsters. Yeah, I think
we don't usually need to worry
no,
about that.
we don't need to talk about that. Okay, back to Markus Burtchen, who has now Pendulum summoned. We said it, the floodgates are open, and here are the Pendulum magicians that are pouring in. They say this YCS title is going to Germany. Marco has something to say about that, however. He says, no, I want to take it back to Italy with my World Chalice deck. Still not a joke. I'm still like second guessing myself while I'm saying stuff like that. I'm like, am I being serious right now?
At this point, Marcus certainly seems to be in a commanding position. We're going to see Heavy Metal Foe's Electromite coming out and starting to cycle through those cards, bringing new things to the extra deck, recycling from the board to the hand, creating new opportunities for Astrograph and Chronograph Sorcerer.
The story that you need to be telling is written all over Marco's face. He is not feeling very well. Yeah, he's got his face in his hands. He knows what's coming. He sees this. And Markus Burtchen, meanwhile, still very cool, calm, and collected. With a little smile on his face, he's going through the moves. He's gone through these moves a couple of times this weekend. That's very fair to assume. And he's just a few steps away from victory.
Yeah. As soon as this Electromite came down, Marco knew it all begins here.
Or it all ends here, depending on the way you look at it.
We see the Astrograph summoned from hand and the Heavy Metal Foe's Electromite on the chain to draw a card after this Curtain Raiser has been added to the hand. And all the resources are just beginning to stack up, and it feels an inevitability at this point that Marcus is going to put forward a board full of negations. To Marco just drawing up to 3 cards in hand. He does at least have that Kyoto waterfront on the field. He'll be able to search himself for 1 Kaiju to try and deal with 1 problem, but it doesn't to me feel like that's going to be enough.
Yeah, I think Marcus is going to be aiming for creating more than 1 problem here. So yeah, Marco is just reading over that card again. One of the many pieces in that toolbox that is the Pendulum Magician deck. Markus Burtchen still hard at work, going through those motions. He's done these motions a couple of times.
Yeah.
How big is the chance that he's going to screw up something here? Can we agree that it's less than 5%?
Yeah, it's fairly unlikely at this point. He's been doing this all day, all yesterday, in his sleep last night.
This is his 16th round of playing Pendulum Magicians, and he's made it through to the final, so I'm fairly confident that he knows how to go through the motions.
Yeah, absolutely.
See Abyss Dweller coming down here.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's actually huge against World Chalice because they don't get any of their Link Monster effects that help them summon more.
And that is it. He passes play, but immediately detaches for Abyss Dweller. Not surprising there.
There is a Herald of Orange Light in hand at this point that may be used immediately to try and shut down the Abyss Dweller if he feels like he needs to have effects in the graveyard this turn.
He's checking his graveyard, but not that many cards there. In fact, just 5 or 6 cards. This should be the contents of his graveyard. And yeah, not that much to work with here.
I've just got this feeling there's going to be some kind of miracle comeback. Or is that more wishful thinking? I don't know.
I honestly don't know. I mean,
if this Abyss Dweller gets negated, yeah, it doesn't seem like it is.
it's not certain yet. He drew for his turn, Abyss Dweller was activated, he's still thinking about it. That's why he's checking his graveyard. He's like, what options do I have? Do I need any graveyard triggers?
It just looked like he shook his head. Yeah, he can't use that effect.
Well,
because it's going to activate in the graveyard.
Yeah, he's thinking about using the Herald of Orange Light, right?
Yeah, still. It looked like he'd already motioned that Dweller was okay.
Right, okay. Bit of a misunderstanding here.
Yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to say without being able to hear the players.
This is one of those things. So yeah, Marco Perico just a few moments ago. Yeah, it did.
Well, it must be through because he just used.
Just a few moments ago, Marco Perico had his head buried in his hands. He's now picked himself up, but he's still looking like he's a bit under shock.
Yeah,
he's not at 100% here.
I do wonder here whether the strongest play he has available to him might be to tribute summon Gamasiel to his own side of the field. Actually, no, with the Astrograph Sorcerer already face up on the field.
Yeah.
It simply wouldn't have enough attack.
No.
So Marco now searching for something in his extra deck.
Summoning another Imduk, as we saw on his first turn.
Yeah, he's got Guard Dragon, where he's going to be able to use the extra normal summon to summon Guard Dragon, and then make a Link 3. But is this going to be is this going to be enough? Okay, he's going to go for Link 4.
That's the Herald.
This may be another option for Saryuya to come out and try and dig for an answer.
This would be one of those uses where we cannot really disagree with the use of that card.
Yeah, well, Saryuya will be able to special summon the Kaiju into defense position. If I remember correctly, he's got 2800 defense position, which is pretty good.
Or even special summon it in attack behind the Saryuya and give it 2500 attack.
Yep.
Saryuya itself having high enough attack points to attack over and clear the Astrograph.
This is definitely the card of the weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it so many
Charge.
times.
Oh, yeah.
Oof.
Still, Dweller is going to cause problems to the World Chalice combo.
Ooh.
One of the cards that I'm not quite sure about here, I think, is that a Stargazer Magician in the Pendulum scale for Marcus?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
What is the Pendulum scale effect of that card? I understand that its scale is changed at times.
If a Pendulum monster you control battles, your opponent cannot activate spell cards until the end of the damage step. Unless you have a Magician card or Auto-Ice card in your other Pendulum zone, this card's Pendulum scale becomes 4.
So at the moment he has a scale 2 and a scale 4 in his Pendulum zones. With those two up, he's not going to be able to Pendulum summon anything other than level 3s, and I don't believe he even plays any. The Heavy Metal Foes Electromite.
He does have a Magician in his other Pendulum scale.
Yes, but that... Okay, in that case, a scale 1 and a scale 2, still no access to Pendulum summons. So if the Electromite can be removed, there may be a limit on how Marcus is able to play around with those Pendulum scales to be able to enable a Pendulum summon.
Is this a summon 5? I think it has to be. Maybe 4 plus Brilliant Fusion. Yeah.
It might be a miracle comeback.
Yeah, 4 plus the Brilliant Fusion.
This is looking interesting.
Yeah.
Marco Perico definitely, his body language has changed quite a bit.
Yeah, his head was in his hands. Now he seems to be really thinking about what's going on here.
He's actually sitting on his shoulders again, yeah.
Big thing to note, he just paid 4,000 for Soul Charge, and the clock in the top left is going to tell a huge story for this game.
Yeah.
We're about to hit time.
And being a knockout stage of this tournament, there will only be 3 additional turns after the current turn. So he only gets 1 battle phase to try and transfer the advantage from that Soul Charge into damage.
Yeah.
Oof, that's gonna be clutch. This match is gonna be so exciting to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is one of those. Wabuku would actually win the finals.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're gonna see that card. And by I don't think, I mean we are not gonna see that card. Alright. So, Marco, talk about a comeback. Suddenly his field has been assembled. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
Especially considering that we felt like he was out of this. But, like you said, Thomas, only one more battle phase to get any damage in.
It drew a brilliant fusion.
Here we see Ningirsu will be able to deal with that heavy metal foe's Electromite and potentially prevent Marcus from being able to establish a pendulum scale on the next turn.
Yeah. And then Ningirsu's effect. After setting both, just in case. That's a Cosmic Cyclone.
Almost 6,000 life points difference between those two players. Currently, Marco Perico has the control over the board.
He's going up even more into a Link 4.
He wants to find his way to a Firewall Dragon here. Co-linked with the Saryuya will be able to have another piece of interaction for the following turn. So he has one negation from the Gameciel and one bounce from the Firewall Dragon co-linked to the Saryuya.
Okay.
Marcus Burtje needs something. His scales are blocked at the moment.
Yep.
That means no more fancy pendulum summoning.
Nope, absolutely not. This game has absolutely turned around in this last turn. Marco Perico looked like he was ready to give up, but absolutely not. He has come all the way back. He's got Saryuya, he's got the Firewall Dragon, and this Gameciel with multiple negates.
And you can tell. It's
yeah.
His head is working. He's like looking back at what he just did the last turn, and maybe the turn before when he was forced to watch, and he's thinking about, did I do this correctly? Like, was there anything else I could have done?
Yeah.
And I think he should be quite pleased with himself.
Yeah.
This was really masterful execution there.
Yeah.
Coming back from nothing.
He's in a very strong position here, but we can't forget he's down 5,700 life points with only one battle phase left.
Yeah.
He needs to be able to clear out that board and put through a huge amount of damage in his one remaining turn.
Yeah.
And Marcus Burtjen, of course, in his head, he just shifted modes as well.
Yeah.
He just went from, I'm going to win this by attacking and stuff like that, going to, I'm going to win this by walling up like there's no tomorrow, trying to make sure I'm somehow hanging in this.
Yeah, is this Pot of Desires his last face down from before the anti-spell? So he'll banish 10, but we may see, as we saw in Game 1, Gameciel's effect coming in to negate the draw 2.
Yeah, I think it has to be.
It needs to.
It has to,
It has to,
no question.
Only 4 more cards in Marcus Burtjen's deck. We might even see that deck out here.
Nah,
that was
no
the
way.
deck. Oh, sorry, that was the hand that he put aside. I'm confused a bit. It's been a long day. It's been a long weekend. Even longer weekend.
He's allowing...
Ooh,
he allows it to resolve.
lets the 2 cards.
I guess, yeah, you can save everything until there is something that potentially builds a pendulum scale. I think he has to keep this Firewall Dragon for the Abyss Dweller and for the Astrograph Sorcerer to be able to make a way to swing in here. He absolutely has to. It all comes down to what he draws here.
It's so tough. It's so tough to make these decisions.
Do we have information on the cards in hand for Marcus?
For Marcus, currently, what we see here is Performer Pulse, Seal Eel, Purple Poison, Magician, Abyss Actor, Curtain Raiser, Astrograph Sorcerer, Mythical Beast, Jackal, King, and Blackfang Magician.
Okay, so...
but Marcus is just shifting gears. He knows he needs to act fast, otherwise the judges are there.
Yeah.
We've seen this weekend. He cannot take forever to think about this. And this is where you can really see why slow play exists. It's ensuring that you don't have infinite time to think of the best possible.
Seal Eel being normal summoned here.
Yeah, it's now in the field. Let's bring that up for you guys. And when this card is normal or special summoned, you can target one set, trap, spell trap card your opponent controls. That set card cannot be activated this turn.
Okay, I think
doesn't
that's
really do a lot.
Is he still able to resolve Brilliant Fusion? If he is, then he's able to possibly get another Link monster out to link to that Firewall, and then he can wait till next turn.
I think the Brilliant Fusion may still be live. If he'd have drawn into the Garnet, then he would have put it back with the Saryuya. I don't think we've seen it.
Yeah, exactly. It all depends on what Marco draws here. If Marco is able to draw another monster to be able to summon like Ib or something like that, Firewall, send 2 back, and then just swing with everything, that will be game.
Yeah, but the Seal is this turn, right? You guys know
Yeah,
that.
just for this turn.
Yeah. Okay.
So the CLEL only being activated there on the off chance that that set is a trap card.
Yeah.
Of
Like
course,
Intervention
it's been
Tribute.
normal summoned to make way for Electromite.
Yeah, I think, okay, so then at this point, we have to see some kind of response.
Yes.
Yeah.
Either the Firewall Dragon or the Gameciel will have to be activated.
If it's Gameciel, that's game. If he Gameciels it, that's game, because he can just spin the Abyss Dweller and then attack for game.
Marco Perico is thinking about this, and I think he went with...
Opts to just use the Firewall Dragon here.
Okay, so he's obviously got some confidence in this Brilliant Fusion that he's going to be able to clear the Abyss Dweller and get enough damage through.
Marcus Portian working fast.
There's no normal summon left for Marcus.
Yep.
There's no ability to Pendulum summon
Pendulum locked
with
right now.
scales 1 and 2. It
What is
goes
this
back
card?
to
It's
Marco.
a monster?
He's activating the Abyss Dweller. That leaves the Gameciel able to activate in
negate
response.
it. Yeah, negate it, and then
If he
just
realizes that he
game.
can use Gameciel here, he has easily enough damage.
Yeah, he's just checking the cards in hand. He wants to think of everything here. Don't forget, hand traps are a
Ghost
thing in this
Ogre.
format.
Ghost Ogre.
So
Possibly. He's thinking about Ghost Ogre right now.
he is negating. Yes, he is.
Oh, yes, yeah, he's got enough anyway.
And the Abyss Dweller will be banished.
That's it. He can attack for game.
This looks really, really good for Marco Perico. He's putting his hands together. He's praying right now to the Yugi gods. Please.
That's
Banish
8,100
that
attack
Abyss
points
Dweller.
on the field
Yeah,
already.
Yeah.
And that is without anything else yet. If there's no battle fader or anything.
No, I would be shouting about that already if there was a battle fader.
The
You
only
know I
hope
would.
for Marcus there was to not activate the Abyss Dweller and
Yeah.
hope that there was no way to summon a new monster.
Look at Marco Perico's body language. We went from head in his hands to
Yeah,
head on his
complete
shoulders
comeback.
to complete straight back, like a yoga teacher would be
Yeah,
impressed
here
right
we
now.
go.
A yoga teacher would be impressed right now. He's got proper courage here, and he's
Yeah.
going at it. I think he knows that World Chalice is gonna become the European, the winner of the largest European YCS if he only goes through the rest of these motions now.
Absolutely perfect. And this is exactly what we'd hoped for. We saw each deck showcasing exactly the best field that it can put out in turn 1. They each took it in
This is
turns to have their chance. and
Only
now
waiting
we
for the
see-
handshake there. This could be it. He only needs to turn that Gameciel to attack position. Don't forget about that. We've seen all of this before.
Yeah,
We've
absolutely,
seen all of these
absolutely.
crazy things before. Come on.
He's making sure here. He's making sure he's got
It's like
10,000 damage.
We're now... We're close to the battle phase. Before that, it should be the handshake phase. Marco knows this. He's moving his cards forward. Marcus Portian is extending ahead. And that is it.
World Chalice take the largest European YCS ever.
Marco Perico, your Italian World Chalice YCS champion.
Wow.
Like, if somebody would have given me a script for this weekend and said, this is what we have in store for you guys. If somebody said World Chalice, I would be like, yeah, okay, go out of this. You write some fan fiction, just go somewhere else. Let's talk about this amazing and epic final in our post-match analysis.
Amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think you have just seen the best final of a YCS we have ever seen. We've had Billy Brake versus Joshua Schmidt last time we were in Bochum, so it was pretty high. Like the bar was raised.
Good.
The bar was raised, and we thought it couldn't get any better. But I have to say, this is in the running. This was just as good, if not better.
Yeah, that was absolutely phenomenal. World Chalice taking that game.
We tried to write the perfect final, and then we watched it play out in front of us.
Yeah.
We don't want to give ourselves too much credit, but we went into this final. We said World Chalice. We've seen it before. It's flaking out left and right all the time in the feature match. First game, it shows us what it can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were happy at that part.
Yep.
At that moment, we were like, this is good. This is good for the game. We've seen World Chalice. It can do everything. Let's hope that he somehow is going to have some more action in the during the rest of this final.
Yeah.
We looked very closely at the decklist of Marcus Portian, who's not playing your average Pendulum Magician.
Nope.
He's playing some crazy stuff.
And we even saw that combo coming off in the game where Game 2 he was able to play first. He had access to that rank up spell, and we saw the Utopic Zexal locking out our World Chalice player, Marco, from being able to use his first turn.
Even though it got kaiju'd, he was still able to then next turn just take so much damage on the board.
Just so much. Then, between games. Luke said what we want to see in the last game is both players breaking a little bit, thing going like back and forth, going rather slow, and then one guy has a really cool move, the other guy has a really cool turn, and then somehow somebody wins. This is all we're hoping for.
Yep.
And this is pretty much what happened. Like,
Yep.
pretty weak start from Marco Perico. Did not look
Yeah.
all that promising.
He had a floodgate, and then his opponent just couldn't play around the floodgate, and they both just kind of sat there, passing turns for a while. But, yeah.
Marcus Putin was like way ahead in terms of life points.
Yes.
Let's not forget about that. Almost 6,000 life points.
I kept thinking Marco would win, and then Marcus would win, and then Marco would win, and then the life points was so disparate.
And then there was overtime on top of all the other things.
Yeah, I can actually hear the Italians singing the Italian national anthem right now.
Yeah. So
Amazing.
in the last turn that he had, in his only battle phase in the last game, in the last duel of the finals, Marco Perico, after a gigantic soul charge the turn before, has everything. And we could tell Marcus Putin was just watching this. Saying, okay, I have one chance. I have to activate Abyss Dweller and hope.
Yeah.
And it was quite the opposite. Marco Perico immediately starting to pray. He's like, please don't have any hand trap. Please don't have anything.
Yeah. I think even with Ghost Stoker, though, that would have still worked out.
Pulls Gameciel, gets rid of the Abyss Dweller. That's the only opposition that was in his way. Clears the board, and that means Marco Perico with World Chalice.
That was amazing.
With World Chalice.
What a final. I've seen a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh games in my time, and that was phenomenal.
It's
we
definitely,
couldn't have asked for better.
No.
it's definitely in the top 5 matches of all time, especially in finals. Like finals,
Yeah.
top 3, maybe top 1.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're gonna be taking a very quick break to try and catch our breath, even though the odds are not in our favor. Let's just say that. And then we're going to be back with an interview of the champion, Marco Perico. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with that.